day 2 of the 15th annual TCM Classic Film Festival. Woo! My name is Chris Platt with TCM Programming.
Woo!
You are here in Multiplex House 4 to see a screening of 3 Godfathers from 1936. It is the 1936 version. Before we get started, I have a few announcements. Now is the time to silence your phones, tablets, or any other devices you may have with you and focus on the big screen. Also, at this time, we would like to thank our presenting sponsor, Fandango at Home, for their generous support of the festival this year. Please remember to check out the Fandango at Home Living Room Lounge in the Multiplex lobby to learn more about this great service and recharge in between shows. Also, be sure to check out the collection of films at fandangoathome.com under the TCM Classic Film Festival banner. This collection features movies from this year's festival and past editions available for streaming or download. And finally, a big thank you to United Airlines for their generous support of this year's festival. Now it is my very great privilege and pleasure to introduce my friend and a friend to movie makers and movie audiences around the world. Leonard Maltin is one of the most recognized and respected film critics of our time. He spent 30 years on the hit television show Entertainment Tonight. He is best known for his annual paperback reference, Leonard Maltin's Movie Guide. In 2005, he introduced a companion volume, Leonard Maltin's Classic Movie Guide, now in its 3rd edition, which focuses on movies made before 1965, the best ones. His latest book is a memoir titled Starstruck, My Unlikely Road to Hollywood. He teaches at the USC School of Cinematic Arts and hosts a weekly podcast, Maltin on Movies, with his daughter Jessie. In 2022, he received the Robert Osborne Award at the TCM Classic Film Festival. He holds court at leonardmaltin.com, and here he is, the one and only Leonard Maltin.
What a warm welcome. Thank you all. And thank you, Chris. Chris is one of the great guys who comes here from Atlanta. The TCM takes its own staff, full-time staff members from Georgia here to man the festival, or man or woman the festival. And they do a wonderful job because they care. And you can tell that about TCM. They care. It makes them unique. Well, okay, you're not here for the giant ants. You're playing, I like that movie a lot too. But this is the least known, or lesser known certainly, of the 5 versions of the 3 Godfathers, a story by Peter B. Kyne, K-Y-N-E, who was a very popular author in those days, in the 20th century, when there was a lot of fiction. Magazines printed fiction, not just novels. There was a lot of writing. People were reading. Remember that? And his story was so good and so sturdy that it kept being remade. And there was an early talkie version that was also made in a silent version called Hell's Heroes, directed by a young William Wyler, which I think played here at one of the early TCM festivals. But John Ford made it as a silent film with Harry Carey Sr., and then remade it in 1948, memorably, with John Wayne, Pedro Armendariz, and Harry Carey Jr. And it was dedicated to Harry Sr. A very moving tribute from Mr. Ford. This version was made by an unlikely director, an unlikely choice of director at MGM, named Richard Boleslavsky. Richard Boleslavsky, though Polish-born, came of age in Russia and was a student at the Moscow Art Theater. He was the first man to bring Stanislavski's acting methods to America. And he sort of spoke for Stanislavski. And yet he had no trouble working at MGM directing big commercial movies, starting with Rasputin and the Empress, starring the 3 Barrymores. And just before this, he made a wonderful version of Les Miserables with Frederick March and Charles Laughton. And then he was given this. This film is produced by Joseph L. Mankiewicz before he became a writer-director. Supposedly, Louis B. Mayer said to him, "You have to crawl before you can walk," which says something about the way MGM regarded filmmakers and their ranking. But Boleslavsky did a very fine job, and the three stars are Chester Morris, Walter Brennan, and Lewis Stone. Lewis Stone was never young. I've seen the 1922 version of Scaramouche, where he is the lead. He's still not young. He was born in 1879, so he was already in his mid-40s when he made this film. Walter Brennan was a bit player. Like 1 year before this movie was made, he was still doing uncredited walk-ons as an extra, as a bit player, even the Three Stooges shorts. But this was the year that his fortunes changed, because this year, 1936, he also made Come and Get It for Howard Hawks, and won his first of 3 Academy Awards as Best Supporting Actor, and everything changed. Chester Morris was an A-list star at MGM in the early 30s, who never really caught fire. Reliable, dependable, likable, but by the 40s he was a B-movie actor, famously playing Boston Blackie for Columbia Pictures. But they worked together very well here, and I like this film, and I think it deserves to be better known, and I hope you will agree with me. Enjoy the film.